Greetings, Inquisitors. Welcome to the Holocron. This is set up for the upcoming Naboo raid. I was working on the Darth Loquitur account, which is about a 9 million galactic power mid-game account. So I'll show you what I'm doing to prepare there. I've got my Lex Talionis account, which is a newer account. I'll show you what I'm doing to prepare there. And then I'll kind of wrap it up talking about kind of a reality check, expectations, and maybe give you all some things to think about for setting up your own raids. So let's get into this and take a look first at the Darth Loquitur account. So this is a 9 million mid-game account, and I'm in a guild that's going to be aggressive about trying to get a very good raid score. We have been in the past. We've been successful in the crate raid. We have achieved and, overachieved for a guild of our size in the speeder bike raid, and I expect them to want to do the same in the upcoming Naboo raid. So we're all doing Gungans, and I imagine that we'll take all of these Gungans to Relic 8 for a full contribution. They're a premier team. Back in the days of the crate raid, if you think back, we had the Tusken team, and the Tuskens could get a good score, but you had to commit a whole lot of relic levels to do that, to participate in the highest tier of the event. And I don't think a lot of people were willing to put that much relic levels onto their Tuskens, unless they were in a guild that was really trying to max out the raid. So in this case, I think the Gungans are, so far, look like a really good team, look like an incredibly potent defense in Grand Arena. So I don't think many people will have problems building these all the way up to Relic 8 and getting a full contribution. There may be a Relic 9 contribution level for the new raid. Who knows? Things may change when the raid comes out, but we'll see. And the guild is relying on and expecting this to be a very high contribution team, and I think it should be. Queen Amidala, I built Queen Amidala. I do intend to build Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan. It'll take me a while to fully get this team up and running. I may substitute other Jedi in at first to get a better contribution out of this team. R2 is already Relic 8 from other things that we've done in the account. Shaak Ti's already Relic 7. So if I need a really good contribution starting out, again, let's say, for instance, everybody's expected to get 5 million, and I can get a good contribution with my Gungans, but I'm kind of struggling for the rest of my contribution, I can take the Queen Amidala team up to higher relics and try to, make up my contribution here. So that's a thing that we'll keep an eye on. Eventually, I'm going to build into this Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi team here, of course. And these are all characters that I don't feel bad if I take them all the way to Relic 8. I won't feel like there's any wasted resources here. R2 has been versatile. He's, good for the Leia team and all that. Shaak Ti, if I had to put another relic level on her, I wouldn't mind. I think if I had to go to Relic 8, I might swap out Mace Windu into this team. I might rather have a Relic 8 Mace Windu than a Shaak Ti. But yeah, I don't mind having two teams that are full Relic 8 if I need them for contribution. Then we've got the Separatist team, and I looked through the list several times, and I don't see General Grievous in there. So it looks like Grievous is out. So we have Newt Gunray in the lead here, and we do have Droideka, and potentially at first we would have, a Gear 12 Droideka in here just to get a contribution out of this team. But again, as we go along, when the guild gets closer to another big goal, I might have to relic this team up and get a better contribution out of the Separatists. We've also got some leftover Jedi here. We've got Qui-Gon, Grandmaster Yoda, Mace Windu, Ayla's in here. And these are all characters that we've built for Journeys or Grand Arena in the case of Qui-Gon. Keller and Beck is definitely something we will be finishing out to 7 stars and building up over the course of the raid. So we'll have another Jedi team somewhere in here. And again, if I need to relic up Qui-Gon so that I can have the whole team at Relic 5 for contribution, I can do that. I believe you're going to be able to play 5 different teams. So for my 5th team, depending on how things work, right? So if you remember back to the crate raid, there was a way that you could take a Relic 8 Boba Fett in And as long as you can get a turn with him, you could do one ability and score a bunch of points and just get a bunch of contribution out of one character. So if Darth Sidious and Darth Maul can go in as a two-man team at the Relic 5 level, get something done, get some participation in a meaningful way, then it'll just be a two-person Relic team like that for the raid. If it makes more sense to have more characters, we've got Droideka, Plo's already gear 12. If I had to take Jedi Consular to gear 12, I wouldn't mind that too much. He's got a ship. It's not a really effective ship at the moment, but it is, at least it would be less of a waste than some of the other characters. I do predict they may rework Eth Koth. He's supposed to be a droid killer. If this raid is, Naboo raid is droids, then, you know, maybe we look at Eth Koth at some time during this raid. But no rework has been announced yet, and we'll deal with that when we get to it. But this is the idea. This is the idea for my Loquitur account. Two big contributors with the Gungans and this Queen Amidala team. Then medium contribution with Separatists and Jedi, and then just whatever I can get with leftovers. And then if we take a look instead at a smaller account, let's go over and take a look at the Lex Talionis account. And we say, okay, if I'm a newer player, like, how do I get into this raid as a new person and get some contribution? So the first thing I will say, in order to contribute at all to the raid, you have to be 5 stars. I think at the lowest level, you still have to have 5-star characters. And the Jedi here across the top are all characters that we don't mind to build. Shakti, we're going to want. She's a fleet farm, so you will have to get to her node and farm her out of fleet. I'm building a 501st team. I need Shakti anyway. We're farming her as right now. Anyway, so no problem there. I'll get my Shakti to 5. I'll get her all the way to 7 stars. And gear 12 over a long enough period of time. Grandmaster Yoda, I haven't worked on unlocking him yet, but maybe he could be the lead for this team. Maybe there's a different character that makes sense. Mace Windu is a pretty solid character. Qui-Gon is great for us in Grand Arena anyway. And Plo has a ship, so we don't mind putting Plo at gear 12. So eventually, over the course of the raid, I could build this team up to be like a gear 12 and be contributing at that what's currently the 450,000 level in the raids that we've seen so far. Separatists, same thing. If we build Nute Gunray, B1, B2, and Magna Guard, that all makes sense. I put the Stap in there because, honestly, I would, if I have to build a character for this team, I would rather spend Cantina energy and go farm the Stap, which is a more relevant, newer character, than go back and do Droideka for this team. So, again, we'd have Nute Gunray in the raid. We would expect to have General Grievous for Grand Arena or other things in this team. So we're building a team that's going to, be useful in other areas of the game. It'll set us up for, someday doing a gas journey or whatever. And again, these are all characters that aren't very hard to get to 5 stars. So we can pick up Nute Gunray. Stap we have to farm, right? So we could farm the Stap, but the rest of it, not too bad. And again, we might be able to do something with a Sidious and a Maul. These characters, again, not too hard to get to 5 stars. So we could have some kind of team there contributing. And then the bottom one, are we 5 yet? Luminara comes out of a shop. I think it's Galactic War Store. Eth Koth, I believe, comes out of the Squad Arena Store. Ayla, I believe, is available for Raid Mark 1 tokens out of that shop. R2, of course, is a journey character, but he's easy to get. Jedi Consular, everybody should have at 7 stars because you get his shards all over the place out of the Bronzium packs and things like that. So this last team, you can get them to 5 stars, put them at gear 8, 9, 10, whatever, and just get in and get contribution. Now, the idea with an early game account like this, I think, is to try to get toward 1 million. So let's say if we got this to gear 12 at the 450 level, maybe we could actually pull like 350 or something with the team. Same thing here. We're looking for like a 300 contribution here. And then a couple, maybe 150s or something like that, or 100,000s. And that would get us in that range of 800,000 to a million contribution, with pretty garbage characters, really. And let me show you why this is important. So this is the third part of the video. So we've done kind of what a mid-game account would look like, what this early game account might be able to take advantage of. And now let's go talk about guilds and why that might make a difference. So let's go in here and look at the current raid boxes. This is an important thing to think about when you're setting up for the raids. When you look at the rewards, the 16 million, 23, 36, those boxes come pretty quickly. And if the guild sets the expectation that everybody's going to make a 1 million contribution to the raid, you'll settle comfortably in between this 36 and 108. The problem is most people won't quite make it to a million. So let's say you can't set the goal as 750,000 per person, because some people won't meet it. So you got to set the goal at like 1 million contribution per person and try to meet that goal. The problem is there's a huge jump between 36 and 108. So a lot of early game guilds, a lot of guilds that are good for new players that are doing fine in let's say all areas of the game, are still going to settle in between these two nodes, and telling people that they have to go from 1 million contribution to like a 2.5 million contribution. Again, if you want to target a 108 box as a guild, you can't tell everybody we need 2 million from everybody, because some people just won't get there. So some people have to be willing to do 3 million to make up the difference. So there's a big jump there. And your guild, like I've seen statements before, like, hey, when our guild gets to 80 million, then we'll make that push for the other 28 million and cash in on the next box. Once you do that, you can see 108, 125, 144. There's not that much difference. So once you break through that 108 as a guild, at least if I'm in charge of the guild, I'm going to push for the 125, push for the 144, and by then everybody's getting a 3 million contribution, right? And remember, if you have the best team for the raid, a 3 million contribution, you can get 2.7 off of one team. So this box, for a mid-game guild, for some players who've been playing for a year or two and have a bunch of stuff, you really need to go for either the Gungan or the Queen Amidala team and try to secure yourself at least one team that's going to get you to 2 million to 2.7 million. Again, we don't know where these boxes are going to be placed in terms of numbers. We don't know what the individual contributions per battle are going to look like. I'm just using numbers based off of what we know, but I expect to see the same pattern. Okay, so where does your guild fit in? And there's two ways to look at this. One is, okay, I know I'm in a starter guild in the Lex Talionis situation. I know that we're probably going to end up somewhere in between one of the lower level boxes and the first big jump, and that's probably where we'll sit for a while as a guild. The second thing you can do is you could say, well, if my guild isn't going to participate at that level, I'm going to consider changing guilds. In which case, say for example, you say, okay, I'm going to build the Gungans, I'm going to build a Jedi team, I'm going to shoot for a contribution between 3 and 5 million, and then I'm going to look for a guild that's in this range of, trying to get 4 million per person to get this 208 box, right? So I'm going to shoot for a guild. Instead of being happy down here, I'm going to change my roster, I'm going to get all this stuff into my account, and then I'm going to find a guild that's in this gap. Okay? And if everybody's getting 5 million, then, that's 250 million contribution for a raid, and you'll be comfortably in this gap. And the difference between 208 and 424, of course, is a monster jump, which, as you can see from my Loquitur guild, we passed. we passed that jump. We went for the 424 box. But the difference between this box, which 16.5, 9,700, you're only getting 1,500 of this. When you jump to this next gap, you've doubled the amount of Mark III raid currency. And that's what you got to think about. The personal contribution track is not all that rewarding, but doubling the amount of Mark III tokens you get with every raid for the entire duration of the raid is really a lot of materials. It's really a lot. So, gauge what you want to build for the raid based on where you want to be, what kind of guild you want to be in, and make those decisions wisely. That's what I'm doing to set up. That's the advice I have about, thinking through positioning yourself for your raid contribution respective to your guild. I hope this helps people. Please remember to hit that like button on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more stuff in the future. Hit the notification bell so you can see my live streams. And, of course, join us over on the Discord. We got a link to the Discord up above and down below. It's a fantastic place to hang out, learn things about the game, talk about efficient account building. There's an Ask Loquitur channel. You can ask me questions directly, and I'll get you an answer. Hope to see you over there. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next Holocron.